Hi, my name is Kate, this is my channel, and this is my review of Terra Nullius by Claire G. Coleman. Claire G. Coleman is an Australian Aboriginal woman, more specifically she is a Noongar woman, and this is her debut novel. For those of you who do not know, Terra Nullius means land belonging to nobody, and Terra Nullius is the legal fiction under which the British justify their invasion of Australia and the subsequent theft of this land from the Aboriginal people. Terra Nullius was officially overturned in 1992, though the impact that this overturning has had on Aboriginal people's lives is highly debatable. So this novel is a science fiction novel, and I knew that going in, though I'm not sure if at the time of its publication, which was in 2017, if that was widely advertised. I think especially at first it was sort of left as a surprise. Some of the earlier reviews seem to be like, oh, you can't know the secret going in because it'll spoil it, which I think is bullshit. So it is a science fiction novel, though the first third reads like an historical novel, presumably about the invasion of Australia by the British. So about a third of the way through, it's revealed that the invaders are actually from another world, and the natives are not necessarily Aboriginal people, but they are more broadly human beings. So the novel follows the story of Jackie, who has been stolen as a young child from the town of Jerramagup by the invaders, who are colloquially known as slugs. So he's been stolen by the slugs as a young child from the town of Jerramagup, and he's trying to get back there. So he's run away from his mission school to get back to Jerramagup to hopefully find his family and reclaim his identity. So the story is really has a lot to do with the power of story, because as Jackie runs, he's becoming known within the local area, and natives are kind of cheering him on, because he's openly defying the slugs and he's getting away with it. He's the first person to do so, at least in this area. And the slugs are really aware of the propaganda power of this. So they're really trying to catch him and in a show of force and demonstrate to the natives that you cannot defy us. This is how it's always going to go. Because they're worried that if Jackie, who has become known as Jackie Jerramagup, if Jackie Jerramagup becomes legend and becomes myth, then it doesn't matter if they catch him. He's already too powerful, and that will lead to uprising and the attempted overthrow of the slugs. So there's lots of reminiscences as well there of like Robin Hood, but more in the Australian context, perhaps Ned Kelly, especially because Jackie then actually joins a bit of a criminal outlaw gang. So there is a last stand. So it feels very Ned Kelly to an Australian reader. There's also a lot of talk about slavery. Human beings in this future are enslaved by the slugs. Humans are captured, trained and brainwashed. In some instances there's breeding programs, and then they're put to work. And even though the intergalactic law states that slavery is not acceptable, the slugs on Earth justify this enslavement by saying that it's not slavery. It's not possible for a species who is not sentient to be enslaved. So they're disputing the sentience of human beings, which has clear resonances with Indigenous and non-Indigenous race relations in Australia. Aboriginal people were classed under the Australian Constitution as part of the Australian fauna, and this held until the 1970s. So this is clearly a highly political book. I've actually filmed this video. This is probably the 4th or 5th time that I've done it. The light is rapidly declining because I'm trying to decide the best way to talk about it because it is so political. But I think it is an extremely important book, and it is a powerful book. The writing is stunning, right from the get-go. Like the opening paragraph, I'm going to read it because it sets the tone for the quality of the writing and the style of the writing. Jackie was running. There was no thought in his head, only an intense drive to run. There was no sense he was getting anywhere, no plan, no destination, no future. All he had was a sense of what was behind, what he was running from. Jackie was running. The heave of his breath, the hammering of his heart were the only sounds in his world. Through the film of tears and stinging, running sweat in his eyes, there was nothing to see, only a grey, green, brown blur of woodland rushing past. Jackie was running. Other days he had felt joy at the speed, at the staccato rhythm of his feet, but not today. There was no space in his life for something as abstract, as useless as joy. Only a sense of urgency remained. Jackie was running. So that's a bit of a feel of the writing style, and there are some really overwhelming scenes, particularly from the point of view of the slugs. There is a really horrible missionary nun woman who runs the mission school called Sister Bagra, who is truly terrifying, as such people historically were in Australia. There is also a scene of a massacre that is unflinching in its detail and its brutality, that is told from the point of view of a perpetrator of that massacre. And I think that was incredibly confronting and visceral, and perhaps worthy of some trigger warnings. So that was, there's a lot of that really confronting content through the novel. Now, this novel isn't told from the time of the initial invasion. It's perhaps 2 generations after it, though each chapter sort of begins with like a little snippet from like an historical document, I guess, referring back to the time of invasion. So, and then for the last chapter, that snippet comes from a professor of history told from the future, who is a slug, from the Department of like Native Studies, talking about Jackie Jaramagup. So it seems that the fear of the slugs, of Jackie's legend, was justified, that he has become legendary. And when the slugs are now studying us as like an anthropology kind of thing, which I feel is quite a pointed comment at our approach to Indigenous cultures and histories today. So I found this book really powerful. I found this book really, really worthwhile. Claire G. Coleman has just published her second book, The Old Lie, which, from what I understand, is again that mashup of science fiction and historical, looking at Indigenous and non-Indigenous race relations in Australia. I believe this one is a space opera, and I think it's mostly about women. So I'm really looking forward to reading that. And so this has been my review of Terra Nullius by Claire G. Coleman. Thanks. Bye.